That's right. I'm getting in shape for the Oscars. And I'm not the only one.
We're on a mission.
Come on, just 12 more miles. Let's go.
Just play the game.
People's Choice Award won a marathon last week.
Hey, Elizabeth is on our Behind the Table podcast today. We want you all to have a great day. Everybody take a little time to enjoy the view. And don't forget, you're not in it alone. We're in it together. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Fire damaged a store in Subic this morning. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. A Bangor woman has pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud, and a controversial bill that would redefine the way public institutions work with immigrations and custom enforcement has advanced in the legislature. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey, Susan, happy Wednesday afternoon. Here's some of the snow reports we got from the snow recently. About an inch and a half in the Bangor area and 3.5 inches farther down toward the south and west. The snow has now wrapped up. This is the last look at that, and now we're looking pretty good as we do move forward in time. We'll see a decent amount of sunshine, warmer temperatures, and a few passing clouds from here on out. You have to look farther down toward the south for any kind of precipitation that may develop, especially near the Cincinnati area and even in the parts of Washington, D.C. But for us, again, a few passing clouds, and even later on tonight, there's a little cold front moving from the north to the south. You may see a few flurries on Thursday. That's about it. Even some breaks in the clouds, too. Still some clouds further down toward the south and west. Otherwise, some gusty winds. Most of it will stay to the north today, but you may see some winds up to around 15, maybe 20 miles per hour. There is that push of wind again as we head towards early Thursday morning, and again continuing at times, but backing off by Thursday afternoon. But your hourly forecast as we move forward today, still some clouds with temperatures overall in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. Crews were called to the Milo Road in Subic for a fire early this morning. Our Alex Schley is there with the details. Alex?
Susan, just around 4:30 this morning, first responders were called to the county store on Milo Road in Subic. The store is owned by the McCormick family, and we're told one of the owners was out here plowing when he started seeing smoke coming from the building. In addition to the Subic Fire Department, 8 neighboring departments were called. As we know, one of the tricky parts about Subic and rural communities like it here in Maine is they don't have fire hydrants, meaning they have to shuttle water back and forth either from the lake or a neighboring community. Now, every few minutes since I've been here, a member of the community has stopped in to see the destruction for themselves. Everyone I've spoken with said they're in disbelief and heartbroken over the loss. Live in Subic, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Thank you, Alex. A Bangor woman has pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud. According to court records, between July and October 2024, 46-year-old Nicole Kelly and others fraudulently obtained money by entering banks, impersonating legitimate bank account holders, and using fictitious cards to gain access to their bank accounts and withdraw funds. Records indicate that during a search of a co-conspirator's residence, investigators seized 2 fictitious driver's licenses in other people's names that had Kelly's image on them. Kelly faces up to 30 years in prison and a maximum fine of $1 million. She will be sentenced at a later date. And an Aroostook County man is challenging his murder conviction. 41-year-old Jamie Schnackenberg of Monticello is currently serving a 55-year sentence after being convicted of killing Kimberly Hardy in 2023. Hardy was shot twice in the back of the head. During his trial, Schnackenberg claimed Hardy was killed in self-defense. In oral arguments before the Maine Supreme Court yesterday, his lawyer said the trial court made a legal error by excluding the victim's toxicology results and challenged the decision to allow pictures that showed her head injuries.
The evidence at trial compelled the conclusion that Jamie Schnackenberg committed the ultimate act of domestic violence by shooting Kim Hardy, his long-term live-in girlfriend, twice in the back of the head because she was leaving him and taking the cat, and then concealing his crime in his futile attempt to clean her blood from the kitchen wrapping her lifeless body in layers of tarp and garbage bags held together with duct tape prior to dumping it off on a remote logging road.
The court will make its decision on the appeal at a later date. Maine Drug Enforcement agents arrested 3 people following an investigation into suspected drug trafficking at a Baileyville motel. According to the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency, agents had observed what they say was activity consistent with drug trafficking from one of the rooms at the motel. They secured and executed a search warrant for the room. During the search, agents seized approximately 64 grams of methamphetamine along with other evidence indicative of drug trafficking. MDEA says there were also traffic stops and a search of a separate residence related to alleged activity at the motel, and additional evidence was found at a separate residence. 30-year-old Catherine Smith of Baileyville was arrested and now faces a drug trafficking charge. 37-year-old Bruce Bailey, also of Baileyville, was arrested and is also facing drug-related charges. And finally, 40-year-old Dim Acompan of New Jersey was arrested and now faces a drug trafficking charge. Residents of Stonington voted this week to end a contract with the Hancock County Sheriff's Department, citing the rising cost of residents voted against spending $89,000 for coverage. According to the Bangor Daily, the Sheriff's Office will still respond to emergencies, but they won't have deputies carrying out patrols 3 times a week. A controversial bill that would redefine the way public institutions work with immigrations and custom enforcement has advanced in the legislature. Our Callie Warren shares more about LD 2106.
I have 6 members voting in the affirmative, 5 members voting in the negative, 3 members are absent, and that is the vote of the committee.
That close vote was for LD 2106, which faced several amendments before passing the Legislative Judiciary Committee last week. The contentious legislation would, if passed and as amended, create language limiting the turnover of non-public documents to law enforcement officers, including Immigration and Customs Enforcement. In short, it would prevent a public institution from delivering private records to authorities without a warrant. Sponsor Ellie Sato released a statement saying in part, quote, "While ICE maintains a presence in Maine, this legislation will help reduce violence in our schools, libraries, and hospitals, and strengthen our state's commitment to upholding the rights of Maine people," end quote. These public facilities are being defined as state-run institutions. That includes public libraries, public schools, and state-owned hospitals. Private facilities can opt in, but are not mandated. While Sato says the bill was inspired by concern over ICE agents in Maine, the legislation applies to all law enforcement officials, including state and municipal police and school resource officers. Some in the legislature say the bill goes too far, including Representative Jennifer Poirier of Skowhegan, who said in a statement, quote, "This bill is basically the state trying to dictate how the federal government can enforce laws that were established to protect citizens. It is a knee-jerk reaction to manufactured chaos, impeding the ability of law enforcement agencies like ICE and Border Patrol to perform their jobs does nothing to keep us safe," end quote. Others worry the bill doesn't go far enough.
In some ways, isn't it a false sense of security because there's no authority to keep ICE out, and there's no repercussions for ICE anywhere in this bill.
The bill faces further votes in the House and Senate. Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, we'll have the latest on the situation in Iran. We'll be right back.
You provide it all. There's no challenge you can't take on, because you've already taken on everything. You've gone above and beyond. It feels like you've brought them together. It feels like your home is taken care of. It feels like you're all at the top of your game with high-speed, reliable, no-stress Fidium fiber internet.
It feels like Fidium.
Huckleberry's Card and Gift has a wide selection of puzzles for the entire family. Local items, including raised mustard and scone mix from the Scone Goddess, jewelry, town signs, coffee mugs, and much more. Located in front of the Brewer City Hall.
Whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or any commercial vehicle, we know how to get you the big money you may deserve.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you. What I love most about Maine are the people. I have never met a people who are more hard scrabble, even in a place that requires you to work like 2 or 3 different jobs. We have watched this state become essentially unlivable for working class people. And it makes me deeply angry. I'm Grant Plattner, the Marine Corps veteran and oyster farmer running for Senate in Maine to defeat Susan Collins. I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army. I'm not afraid to name an enemy. It's the billionaires and the politicians who sell us out. Susan Collins has been in charge and making policy and decisions the entire time that things have been getting worse for the working family. Nobody I know around here can afford a house. Healthcare is a disaster, hospitals are closing. We need a government that works for people like us, but you're supposed to fight for the things you love. This is our home, and I will fight tirelessly for it, for you. For me, it's Mainers first, and Maine always. I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
The Sylvia Ross Home in Bangor provides 5 professional levels of care and support for residents. We have access to a registered nurse on campus 24/7. Our weekly entertainment consists of a variety of live musical performances and bingo games twice a week. Our on-site beauty salon is available with a professional stylist, and we have 2 libraries that offer computers and Wi-Fi. Sylvia Ross Home is a warm, welcoming community. Please join us anytime for a tour and lunch.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
The Pentagon says the U.S. is prepared to ramp up efforts in the Middle East. During a briefing, Defense Secretary Hegseth said the Navy submarine sunk an enemy ship using a torpedo. It's the first attack of its kind since World War II. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the latest.
Video posted online by the Defense Department shows the moment a torpedo hit an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean. This is the first time a U.S. submarine sunk an enemy ship since 1945. The latest attack comes as the Pentagon announces some 50,000 U.S. troops and additional weapons are now part of the mission. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is adamant efforts across the Middle East are ramping up.
More and larger waves are coming. We are just getting started. We are accelerating, not decelerating. More bombers and more fighters are arriving just today.
Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair General Dan Kane says the U.S.-Israel operation has hit more than 2,000 targets, adding the shots fired by Iran's theater ballistic missiles are down 86% from the first day of fighting. Satellite images show some of the structures hit, including those of Iran's senior leadership. Iran's Red Crescent says more than 700 people have been killed. 6 American service members have also been killed in Iran's retaliatory strikes. The Pentagon has identified 4 of them killed in Kuwait.
To the families of our fallen, we grieve with you today, and we look forward to welcoming your family members home at Dover in the coming days.
In Iran, thousands gathered at a mass burial for the more than 150 girls Iran says were killed in a strike on an elementary school. The Pentagon has repeatedly been pressed on what happened.
All I can say is that we're investigating that.
And Hegseth said the Iranian leader who plotted the assassination attempt on President Trump in 2024 has also been killed. Hegseth added that person was not the sole focus of any operation, but that he personally made sure those responsible were eventually on the target list. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Voters in North Carolina chose 2 candidates to advance in its Senate race for what will make a crucial general election in the fall. Republican Michael Whatley and Democrat Roy Cooper secured nominations for the North Carolina Senate race on Tuesday. Whatley is a former National Committee chairman who has been endorsed by President Trump. Cooper served as North Carolina's governor from 2017 to 2025. Both were expected to win their respective nominations on Tuesday. The candidates both focused their campaigns on the well-being of American families. During their victory speeches, Whatley praised President Trump and highlighted issues around immigration, crime, and safety. Cooper stressed the importance of lowering the cost for everyday living for locals. Whatley and Cooper are competing for Republican Tom Tillis' seat, who is retiring.
The cost of groceries, child care, utilities, rent, health care, skyrocketing. Just overnight, we saw the price of gas spike. Yet another burden on working families. Meanwhile, the DC insiders are making sure that the wealthiest among us are getting further ahead, all at your expense, and it's not right.
A victory from Cooper would give Democrats at least 4 seats in the Senate, which they need to regain control of the chamber. Republican leadership gathered yesterday at the Maine State House to deliver news that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has denied the Mills administration's request for more time to investigate claims of fraud within Medicare. Maine House Minority Leader Billy Bob Falkingham says the remaining records that were supposed to be submitted are now due, and audits continue. He says federal officials cited the urgent need to protect taxpayer dollars, preventing delays in oversight, and serious concerns about program integrity as reasons the request was denied. Falkingham says those audits have turned up numerous issues, including missing documents and cloned records.
The Office of the Inspector General is concerned because the federal OIG identified $45.6 million in improper payments to autism services. Every sample, as we've said, every sample, 100 out of 100, contained errors.
Falkingham said the problems with the Maine care system are also going to cause a ripple effect through the state's budget, but so far Republicans have not seen those concerns addressed.
We still have seen nothing of this in any of the budget proposals and any of the supplemental proposals, but the federal government is telling the state of Maine that almost $29 million is due back to the federal government.
Falkingham says Maine Care consumes 25 to 30% of the state's budget. As we inch closer to the upcoming elections, more candidates are turning in the necessary signatures to get their names on the ballot. Republican candidate David Jones has announced he has gathered enough signatures for Maine's gubernatorial race. He was joined by supporters at the State House yesterday before turning in his signatures to the Secretary of State's office. Jones emphasized that he is a seasoned businessman and real estate broker who is running for governor with a mission to raise the standard of living for Mainers and prioritize auditing Maine's finances.
I'm not a guy who says he's going to do something and not do it. If I make a commitment to you and I say yes, you can bet your bottom dollar it means yes. And I will do everything I can to work as hard and as smart as you would ever want a governor to do.
A candidate in Maine's highly contested 2nd congressional district race has also achieved this milestone. Democratic candidate Matt Dunlap officially filed his nomination petitions to appear in the ballot on the Democratic primary for Maine's 2nd congressional district. Dunlap, a former Maine Secretary of State and current state auditor, says he is running on the people's agenda that includes Medicare for all, universal child care, living wages, and protecting democracy. According to Dunlap, he is the first on either side of the race to file his signatures.
It expands quite a bit when you start blowing it out to about 1,000 signatures, or statewide for 2,000. So something you want to be on top of, and we were. It's good to be the first one to file in the second CD race. So now we can focus on the next part, which is actually the primary.
After the break, cancer survivors and advocates gathered at the State House yesterday to press lawmakers to help with hurdles to health care. We've got details when we return.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
You heard it was a hit. You heard it was a smash. A wonder. A phenomenon. An international sensation. But you haven't heard them.
March 16 at the Cross Insurance Center. Get your tickets today.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive in the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
Jamar Construction Products in Bangor continues to grow to meet our customers' needs, supplying products for site work contractors, concrete contractors, and survey and safety supplies. We are proud to be the local dealer for Hilti, Valley Blades, U.S. Fabrics, and Euclid Chemical, plus so much more. Stop by and see us at 1270 Hammond Street or give us a call at 907-4491. If you dig it, pour it, plow it, fasten it, lay it, or lift it, Jamar Construction Products can help you.
The Sylvia Ross Home in Bangor provides 5 professional levels of care and support for residents. We have access to a registered nurse on campus 24/7. Our weekly entertainment consists of a variety of live musical performances and bingo games twice a week. Our on-site beauty salon is available with a professional stylist, and we have 2 libraries that offer computers and Wi-Fi.
Sylvia Ross Home is a warm, welcoming community. Please join us anytime for a tour and lunch.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
There's already plenty of evidence that heavy drinking can lead to liver damage and increase cancer risk, but new research suggests it may also raise the risk of brain bleeds and nerve damage. ABC's Melissa Adon has more.
A new study published in Neurology, the Journal of the American Academy of Neurology, found a strong link between drinking 3 or more drinks per day and a higher risk of stroke and brain damage. In a trial of more than 1,600 adults who'd had a stroke, the heavier drinkers tended to be younger than lighter drinkers. They had blood collections that were more than 1.5 times larger and twice as likely to occur in deeper parts of the brain. They were also 3 times more likely to have damage to nerve cells, important for brain function, and 82% more likely to have small vessel disease in the brain. Plus, they were over 90% more likely to need help with daily activities after a stroke. Researchers say heavy drinking can lead to high blood pressure, blood vessel damage, and poor blood clotting, all of which raise bleeding risk in the brain. If you are a regular drinker, consider cutting back or taking several alcohol-free days each week. It can help protect your brain and lower your stroke risk. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon.
More than 8,000 Mainers receive a cancer diagnosis each year. That's according to advocates who are urging Maine lawmakers to support proposals that would help address financial barriers to health care. This as the cost of medical care is expected to rise nationwide. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Volunteers with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network are rallying behind 2 bills this session that aim to address the needs of patients across the cancer continuum.
Patients deserve access and coverage to the things that are going to get them the best possible care at the best possible time.
One of those bills, LD 107, would require health insurance coverage for biomarker testing, a critical tool that helps determine treatments for patients.
It's absolutely life-saving. It is incredibly helpful, not just for cancer, but for other diseases, so it is critical that Mainers have access to this.
The other bill they are pushing for, LD 2129, aims to protect patients from medical debt repercussions for their homes or the garnishing of wages.
It's not a financial literacy failing to get sick. You don't deserve to lose your wages or your home because you have an illness that was unexpected and not covered.
That was a very real fear for volunteer Shauna Ackley after her breast cancer diagnosis in 2021.
I was in my recovery chair looking up resources, grants. I didn't want to lose my house to this. Nobody thinks that they're going to go through cancer, especially at 38, raising a young child.
The biomarker testing bill passed both chambers last session, but its implementation is on hold pending funding allocation. Advocates say the medical debt bill received overwhelming support in committee, but must now face both chambers.
If you are facing these obstacles, battles, down the road, we need to have this safety net for everyone.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Tired of worrying whether your credit will hold you back from getting a car? At Down East Credit Union, we believe everyone deserves reliable transportation, even with less than perfect credit. Let us guide you every step of the way. If your credit score is under 670 or you've had setbacks like bankruptcy or repossession, that doesn't mean you're out of options. We'll help you get pre-approved, guide you through car shopping, and work with you on a plan to rebuild your credit. Reach out to Down East Credit Union today. Let's get you on the road confidently.
I'm an oyster farmer and a small business owner. Graham knows what it means to wake up at 4 a.m. with the rest of us. Sullivan needed a harbor master, Graham stepped up. Lobstermen needed help with their gear, Graham dove on it. That's just who he is. I don't see anyone like that in Washington. He cares, he gets Maine, he gets us.
I love every corner of this state and every person in it far too much to just stand by and watch it be ripped apart.
Graham will do whatever it takes to get the job done.
I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
I got hurt in a car accident. Why should I call the twos?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I don't take tiny checks. I get my clients big checks. We got a client who fractured their pelvis, a big check for $300,000. And another client broke multiple bones, and we got them a big check for $700,000.
Don't take a tiny check for your car wreck. Call the twos.
I'm your go-to guy.
When you're ready to remodel your kitchen, find all the materials and services you need at Hammond Lumber Company. Get inspired by the extensive in-store displays in Hammond's kitchen, bath, and flooring division. Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And all design fees are refunded when you purchase your materials from them. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. When it's time for a new kitchen, it's time to bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Welcome back. Let's check your full forecast with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, Susan, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Wave heights at around 1 to 3 feet, according to the buoys at this point, while farther out towards sea, we're looking at around 6 to even 13 feet at this moment in time. So definitely a mess out there at this moment in time, but not too bad in our neck of the woods. Now some snow reports that we've gotten recently, around 1.5 inches near the Bangor area, with 3.5 inches farther down toward the south and west. So nothing too ridiculous from the snowfall that we got last night. And now, of course, the snow has since moved out. So we are looking pretty good at this moment in time with everything that is now tracked off towards the east. So let's zoom things out. You can see a little bit more precipitation further down toward the south and west, and even some thunderstorms too across the central plains. But as for us, still some clouds out there. We'll see some sunshine too. There's a system right there that's going to be tracking from the north to the south. It will be a cold front. It will bring some clouds with it. A few flurries not out of the question either. But once we get that through, the rest of your Thursday will feature some sunshine and clouds mixed. But otherwise, again, once we head towards Thursday night, you may notice some more clouds approaching, but the precipitation there will be staying away from us. We may see some gusty winds with that cold front at times, around 15 to 20 miles per hour, but we'll notice that more as we head towards tonight and a parts of Thursday morning. But throughout the rest of Thursday, we'll be looking pretty good. But mid-40s today, partly cloudy. In general, we'll see a west wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But yes, higher gusts up to 20 miles per hour can't be ruled out. Overnight, okay, lower 20s, mostly cloudy. In general, the wind will calm down later on, but at times early on, we'll see sustained winds at around 5 to 10 miles per hour with higher gusts possible. And then for tomorrow, lower 30s, mostly cloudy, flurries, northeast wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and some higher gusts cannot be ruled out up to 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Friday, mostly cloudy. cloudy, highs in the low 30s, a wintry mix switching over to rain on Saturday with highs in the upper 40s. Morning rain showers Sunday, also the time change. 2 a.m. skips ahead to 3 a.m. with highs in the low 50s.
Thank you, Devin. A total lunar eclipse turned the moon blood red. The blood red moon was visible over the skies over North and Central America and the west part of South America early Tuesday. Later, those in Australia and Eastern Asia were able to see the blood red moon. The phenomenon won't happen again until late 2028. Both lunar and solar eclipses happen thanks to a precise alignment of the sun, moon, and earth. In total lunar eclipse, the Earth is between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow over the moon. The moon looks red because of stray bits of sunlight that filter through the Earth's atmosphere. Tuesday's total eclipse of the moon comes about 2 weeks after the Ring of Fire solar eclipse that was visible over Antarctica. And a new and endangered Sumatran tiger cub passes its first vet exam. The young and playful female cub was born at the January in the Berlin Zoo. It's spending quality time roaring and exploring its enclosure with its mother. On Tuesday, the cub had a health visit that included vaccinations. A tiger jury will select a name for the cub. The tiger is a native to the Indonesian island of Sumatra and is one of the smallest subspecies of the tiger still in existence. Only about 400 to 600 Sumatran tigers are left in their natural habitat. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.
Many people living in Maine still face barriers to reliable internet access. TechHelpForMe.org is a free online directory that connects people to local connectivity resources like public Wi-Fi, public computers, free or low-cost computers, digital skills classes, tech help, financial assistance, and more. Learn more at TechHelpForMe.org. Brought to you by the Maine Connectivity Authority and the Maine Association of Broadcasters.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor. The following program is a paid advertisement for the New Wave Forever Smart Air Purifier, sponsored by New Wave LLC.
Before you take another breath,
you owe it to yourself to watch this.